Welcome to the Rockin Rich Lynch on the Radio Show. I'm your host, Rockin Rich Lynch, inviting you to join me as we discover great new music by bands and artists from around the world. With interviews, music news and reviews, great prizes, and a whole lot more. Visit us online today at soundpress.net for great music promotion and publicity. Hi, this is Rockin Rich Lynch, and you're listening to the very best of Rockin Rich Lynch on the radio. We recently moved our operations from the New York, New Jersey market to Nashville, Tennessee, and we are now looking for a production and broadcast partner in the region to take the radio show to new heights. If you're a band, musician, solo act, or represent a musical project in any genre, please visit soundpress.net and our new site, musiccitynashville.net, to learn how we can help get your message to the world. Now, please enjoy this great interview from our archives. Hey everyone, the person we're about to speak to today has a star-studded new album out right now called Hang Cool Teddy Bear. And for the next few moments, we're going to be hanging with the legendary Meatloaf. Meatloaf, thank you so much for joining me on the program today.
No problem. You know what, you mentioned it was star-studded. See, I don't feel that way. These people... And I keep reading this, and I'm almost sorry because they're my friends.
Right, me.
They're friends. It was like Brian May called up and said, "What are you guys doing? Can I come and hang out with you?" And we went, "Sure." I've known Brian for 30 years, and he wanted to bring out his daughter and his daughter's boyfriend. And so we go, "Brian, you want to play something?" "Oh yeah, sure." And Steve Vai, I've known Steve, and I wanted Steve, the way he plays guitar on one thing. And Jack Black, I did Tenacious D. He was going to play me at one point in the movie of my life. And then his career really took off, and they waited too long to get him to do it. And it was a matter of, for Jack, it was a matter of our voices went well together on that particular song. And Cara, we were using her for her writing expertise and the fact that she, it was like a funny little story about how, doing a duet. It was like Rob and I, neither one wanted to ask her, and finally I did, and she went, "Sure." And so, and Hugh, because I did the House episode, I thought, oh, it'd be fun for him. And I don't, people write, when they write about it or they talk about it, it makes it seem more pretentious than it really is, and it's just like, yes, it is star-studded, but to me, it's not star-studded.
Right.
If I had, if I would have got, there's people out there that I don't know that aren't my friends that I would have considered, star-studded. But what's interesting is when you get in that regard, the hip-hop rap guys do it all the time. They're interspersed in each other's records constantly.
Well, you have friends in high places, Meat, and that, I'd like to,
because I've been here for 40 years. I have all kinds of people I can call to do stuff.
Well, Meat, let me help you out. Meatloaf.net is the website, everybody. Hang Cool Teddy Bear is out now, and it's doing great around the world. And Meatloaf will be coming to the listener area this summer on a big tour for the album, coming to New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Check his website for the dates, and we're going to hope to see you. And Meat, hopefully you'll be able to call me your friend by the end of this. But I just, I did want to say, your new record is great, Meatloaf. It's a spicy brand of Meatloaf, though, because it comes with an explicit label. When I first listened to Bat Out of Hell, I was 11 years old. So does it concern you in any way that you might be alienating some of the, younger audience with an album that, has to be branded explicit?
Okay, hang on for a second. Hang on. Now, just let me say this to you. Let me say how hypocritical this is. Because of this. Because but 11 years old, they didn't want you listening to Bat Out of Hell at 11 years old. And when Bat Out of Hell came out, all these Christian programs were all over everywhere saying that we were devil worship and that if you played it backwards, it masks this and that. And at 11 years old, they didn't want you to listen to Bat Out of Hell.
Of course. I was listening to my sister's records.
That's right, because to them, that was explicit. Paradise in 1977, when we got to the play-by-play first, that was explicit to them. But it's really hypocritical. If you say that word on a record, everybody throws their hands up in the air and falls down on the ground and is afraid they're going to get eaten by the devil himself. But Grandma can go down there and buy Mugger 5, this nice video game for Junior who's 9, and sitting there and watch him go, get that guy, cut him up, steal from him. Mugger 5 or Drive Away Shoot Time or whatever.
Right.
Or they can watch any television show, including a soap opera in the afternoon, and hear a couple of the words that we say on this record that everybody throws their hands up in the air and goes, oh my Lord. But HBO, you hear it all the time.
Hey, me.
And at school they hear it. And I'm leaving Whole Foods the other day. And there's a 14-year-old kid in New York going up the escalator behind me. And he is screaming at his friend who's in front of me. Worse language coming up the escalator in Whole Foods than I would ever put on an album.
Hey, Meat, I never thought...
So I'm just saying that it's insane how people, if it's on a record, they go, oh, my God, he said that.
Right. Well, I guess you still had to make the decision to do that, and then people would have to label it. But I watched the CBS programs, the sitcoms on Mondays and Wednesdays, and it seems like I never thought I'd see the day when like douche was the regular word. That would
yeah. I mean, listen. If you watch 2.5 Men, which is one of the most popular shows on television, the sexual innuendos and the things they say are way more explicit than anything on this record. And so it's like I just find it hysterical to me that it's 2010. So to me it's not any more explicit than anything that was on Bat Out of Hell.
Right. Okay, that's cool, Meatloaf. Hang Cool Teddy Bear is the new album. Track 4 features, as you mentioned already, Cara DiGuardi as a songwriter and backup singer with you. Are you a fan of American Idol, Meat?
To a point. I'm a fan of American Idol to a point. I wish they wouldn't pin them down so much. They seemed and it's like I know what goes on there. They, every week they give them a choice of songs. They might give them 12 songs. And so they have to pick one of these 12 songs, and then the judges come on and go, I don't know why you picked that song. And it's like, guys, back up. They make it sound like these kids just went out and picked these songs. And I wish they would let them. I get it about doing all these songs, and I'm sorry, but not all the mentors know exactly what the hell they're doing, and I'm sorry, they just don't. And I'm not. And the way they manufacture them, it's like after a while you get out of that. Like Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Daltrey, some of them have gotten away from being manufactured so much. But initially, that they just manufacture them, and that's not really making an artist. I mean, what they should do, if I was them, I know they're trying to capture the moment and try to, base it on the audience, the impressions they've had over doing American Idol, and they've gone on tour and they want to get an album out. But after the tour, they should let them sit and be involved in the tracking and be involved in the whole thing and within the songwriting and within all this, and they're not. That's my problem with it.
Hey,
they create these things out of dust, and instead of but you know who there's a show called X Factor over in the UK, and there was a girl right now named Diana Vickers, who has the #1 album, #1 single in the UK. She came off X Factor, And she didn't immediately go and start making records. She went up on the West End and did a play did a musical for almost a whole year with really talented actors, and really got a foundation into stage work, into what she was doing. Now she comes back and she takes it to this level. And she just turned 19. So I thought that whoever took care of her handled her very well. And she made an album, and she wanted to make an album, and my problem is that nowadays what happens is a lot of these artists, not so much on American Idol, but over in the UK especially, they go, oh, we don't want to make an album, we just want to make 2 songs and put them on a single and do some shows, and now making an album's too hard and takes too much time. And I want to, so that's just wrong.
Right. Well,
I don't know if that answered your question.
Well, you're a big-time album maker going way back. Well, I just thought, Meat, that you could be a perfect mentor on the show, and you never know who shows up on that grand finale. Last year was amazing. Kiss came out, Rod Stewart. I mean, I could see you, showing up on that grand finale someday. One thing about American Idol, though, I did the math, Meat Loaf, and there's a guy, yourself, who sold out arenas, many times in his career. The exposure you get on 1 week of American Idol is equivalent to 1,500 straight 20,000-seat sellouts. Isn't that?
Believe me, I'm well aware of that.
Isn't that? That's amazing, isn't it?
I'm well aware of that. And it's like in bread. I mean, every week you have a different. They just keep bringing it's like. What do they call it? I can't remember the word, but every week now, because they've had so many idols, they just have a different idol come out.
Right. They're definitely making stars. You can't fault them for that. Meat Loaf, and I think
they just have a different guy coming out. So, hey, more power to they got the power, they're using it. So,
right.
More power to them.
I think the number was 1,500. But the other American Idol connection is your current producer, who you're working with, who helped you out mightily with Hang Cool Teddy Bear. Rob Cavallo has also worked with a couple of recent Idol
David Cook, who he did really well with, and I was around when we were still working. Adam Lambert came in. I gave him 3 weeks of the time to do the Adam. They only did 4 tracks on Adam Lambert, so I went up and I was working. I would come in over there and show them what we were doing, but I moved to another studio for 3 weeks.
And you had a very good experience recording this album with Rob.
Rob Cavallo's the best. There's nobody better, because he wants the artist to shine. And that I think that was the product. A little bit of the problem is that Rob, they gave Rob the songs to produce for Adam Lambert, instead of let's come at it from an organic place, and because that's how we did this record. We really came at it from a real organic place, and that's how he likes to work the best. You have ideas for things, and you have song ideas, and you do that, but then we finish them there, as opposed to, okay, we got a demo, let's just redo this demo, and we never did that. And you just come at it it just comes from a different place, something different that I've never, it reminded me of the late 60s, early 70s way of recording.
Hey, Meat Loaf, I listened to it so many times, and I went back, I listened to the trilogy of Bat Out of Hell, and I know that you're saying that you're singing with a different voice, and it seems like you're more of like a rock and roll front man. It's not as big of a presentation, but upon the fifth listen, I really began to hear, Meat Loaf in the recording.
Oh yeah, definitely. But what it is like it hasn't been processed. It's like, in other words, it just hasn't been processed. We basically sang it and left it alone. There's it's just that not much processing on it. And if it was out of tune, I'd go, let me do it again. If it was something. If I'm flat, I'm going to fix it my way. Let me sing it, and then once you get all because I'm slow, I'm not a fast learner. So once I learn it and I live, we do it once, and then what I will do is we'll put one together so I can hear what's going on with it. And once I get it down, I know what I'm doing with it, then we went back in, and basically what I did was just sing them over and basically trying to do as many single takes as you could. Granted, some things were comped and put together like they do with anybody, but even in the old days with Sinatra, they did that. So, but it was a harder feat back then.
Meatloaf, it is so great to talk to you. Meatloaf.net is the website. Hang Cool Teddy Bear is the new album out now. Meatloaf's 11th studio album out now in multiple configurations all around the world and charting high everywhere that it's been released. Meatloaf, I have so much I'd like to talk to you, and I don't think I'm going to get to everything in this first
try
interview.
Again.
You know, what amazes me, or what's intriguing to me about your story is not only your success, it's how you went about it. You extricated yourself from your home life where you're having some difficulties, and you went to California and you met the people. A lot of people don't make that move in the first place, so that had to say a lot about your drive and your commitment to yourself way back when.
Oh, yeah, I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter. It gets harder. I will admit that it's easier to fight when you're younger, and once you've been doing it this long, and especially with this album, because this album, I'm so emotionally connected to this record. I've never been emotionally connected to a record in the way for that way, anything other than my kids and relationships, emotionally connected to anything artistic, because you're emotionally connected to it when you're doing it, and you have to be, but then when it's over, because it gets out of your hands, and you can't control it. So I've always just let that slide go by the way, and there's disappointments, yeah, but this one is I'm like, if somebody takes a swing at me, boy, it hurts. I mean, I'm feeling the full blow of a punch on this record, which is like, I've never really felt that before. And so if somebody says they don't like it, I'm like, oh my God. It's like, and I know you can't be that way, but I'm really emotionally connected to this.
Let me just ask you about the Bat Out of Hell trilogy. Is the story complete at 3, or could we see more somewhere down the road?
You know what? Well, 3 was a disappointment to me, because Jimmy didn't do it, and it just wasn't a good, you know what, I can't tell you how good the album is or not. I know there's a couple of songs on there I don't like, and that I argued I argued a lot over not having them on the record, and I just kind of got blackmailed on it. And so the record does not have a good taste. There was too many things negative about it, so I can't tell you about it. So if I do anything else again, it would be with Jim Steinman, and hopefully we get Rob Cavallo to produce. So that would be the ideal. That would be the ideal team. Steinman with Cavallo.
Was there ever any thought on the second and third Bat Out of Hell to get Todd back involved in it?
We got Todd involved on the background vocals and things like that, but not as a producer, no.
Okay,
because on Bat 2, Jimmy wanted to produce, and I thought that was legitimate. And when we started Bat 3, he was producing, and then we won't even get into why he didn't. And everybody in the world wants to blame me for it, but that's not really what happened. I can't say that there's always two sides to every story, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wasn't partially blamed, but I wasn't fully to blame. So for that to happen, and so yeah, I think at this point that we wouldn't have a Bat Out of Hell 4 just because we wouldn't call it that, because that's a negative after a while. I mean, even on this record, they wanted to call it Bat Out of Hell 4.
Hey, Meat, the way the world is going, I was thinking about this. If it was me, I'd call it to hell in a handbasket. The world's gone batty.
You know what? I think Hell in a Handbasket is exactly what I should have called this record. I didn't think of it. I thought of it the other day. I should have called it Hell in a Handbasket.
Well, this has been
that's one of my sayings.
It's been a tough year, though, 2010, as far as, what's going on in the world. But Meat Loaf is back, and, he's not feeling the pain. He's got a great new album out. Meat, I've seen you all over the place on the cable outlets. Is there more work nowadays with the emergence of cable TV, the internet, bloggers, all these micro-broadcasters like myself? Is there more work for you out there in promoting the record?
You know what? There seems to, for some reason, they all sit around and tell how bad the music business is, and do you know how many things are getting released? It's like for an industry that is so bad, it's like, because the film industry, they say the film industry is one of it, and I know for a fact they've cut back productions on film. They've cut this. They've cut back television productions. They've put in more reality shows. They've done all these things. So actually, and especially because of because of Idol, the demographic is getting much younger, and so all these shows see what kind of audience that American Idol has, and that young demographic. All these shows are wanting to skew to the young demographic, to that American Idol audience. So for somebody like me, sometimes it gets harder.
Hey, Meat Loaf, you're a renowned live performer. I've heard people describe you, that you put on a show equatable to like going to see a Bruce Springsteen show, back in the 70s.
You know what? That's a compliment, because Bruce is one of the great. That's really a compliment.
Well,
I wish I was in shape like Bruce is. Bruce gives one of the great shows. There's very few people, and I don't know how he does it. I swear to God, I really don't. I looked at his schedule and went, and he's only a year younger than me, or 2 years younger than me, and I sit here and go, how in the hell does he do 3 nights in a row?
Well,
and he'll do 2 hours and 45 minutes and sing for 3 nights in a row. And God bless him. I don't know how the hell he does it.
Mighty Max.
Bruce is a champion. Bruce is a real champion. Bon Jovi puts on a good show, but Bruce is a champion.
Well, I brought it up because Mighty Max and Roy was, of course, on your Bat Out of Hell 1 album, and I just wanted to know if you had gotten the chance to see Bruce over the years, and it sounds like you have.
Oh yeah, I have. But and I when he was on the Super Bowl, what was that, 2 years ago? I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought that was one of the better Super Bowl things. It's like, because Bruce just goes and does it. And that's what I mean, he just walks out on stage and does it, and that's what I do. And it's really not, he's got little foundations planned, like an improv thing, but it's not one of these pretentious kind of rock shows where every night they get down on their knee at the same time and they say the same thing over again, and it's like they got footprints painted out on the stage. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of really pretentious rock shows out there, big ones, and really just not good. But Bruce is a champion.
Well, but
I love him for it.
Hey, Meat. Well, that's interesting because you're coming from the theatrical world when you first started out, and a lot of theater is scripted to a point. I just want to ask you. I had another question as far as that. What do you think of the trend to Broadway plays based on rock and roll? And could we ever see a show based on your life? Because it could make a great story.
Well, yeah, I don't know whether you could or not, but Henkel Teddy Bear is really a short story, and it really is the real deal, and it really is a really great story. And the thing about the songs, and it goes back again, it's like, the songs are really developed. I wish the people reviewing the album were playwrights and novelists, because I think they would appreciate it a lot more than some of these music critics, because they would understand the character development and the time we put in and spent in the character development inside these songs, and how well thought through and well developed these characters are, and they're really right in front of you, and they're So sometimes that bothers me that people don't get that. But as far as a play, this thing is a solid play. Hank Cool Teddy Bear would be a solid play.
Awesome, Meatloaf. Let's just play a game really quickly of Is It True? Is it true you were friends with John Belushi?
Yeah, I was very good friends with John.
You once gave...
And John, listen, John, people just don't know John, but I'm going to give you a story. I'm going to give you one story about John Belushi, and this will tell you who he is. John came out to the house. My oldest daughter, Pearl, who has her own album out now and is out touring, she was, 6? And John came out to the house, and the Blues Brothers movie. And the Blues Brothers movie was one of her favorite movies. Now, she didn't equate John to the character Jake. I think he's Jake. She didn't put two and two together. And so John came to the house, and the first thing that happened was, because John really liked my kids, Pearl, and he wanted. They came out to see Amanda, because Amanda was not very old, just been born. So Pearl grabbed John by the hand and said, "Come on, watch a movie with me." And she sat him down, and she put in the tape of Blues Brothers that I had. And John sat through the whole movie and let Pearl tell him about the movie as it went on. And he never said to her, "Do you know that's me?" That's the kind of guy John Belushi was.
That's a cool story, Meatloaf. Very, very cool. One other thing. How do you like the U.S.'s chances this year in the World Cup?
In soccer?
Yes.
I don't know. The Cowboys have a better chance.
Excellent. Meatloaf, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Oh, no problem.
Maybe we can do it again sometime.
All right, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Rockin' Rich Lynch on the Radio Show, part of the SoundPress.net radio network. Remember, if you're a band or artist looking for promotion, or if you'd like to sponsor this show or add this program to your station, please get in touch with us today at SoundPress.net.